My daughter, who was 11 years old at the time, was visiting my parents for the weekend during the summer. They own 55 acres in the woods in northern Michigan. Most of the property near the home is cleared, roughly about 7 acres. The rest was sporadic trees here and there until you get to the back 8 acres. Before it gets dark, they like to sit out on their screened-in porch and watch the deer come out to eat, which was done this night. The plan was to wait till the sun went down so she could practice riding her CT200 Coleman bike. It's a small bike that only went 20 miles per hour and it had a decent headlight on it, so it was good for the cleared trails on the property. While her and my dad were sitting on the porch just before sunset, my daughter was watching the open field for deer. But instead, she saw something that looked like a white dog moving very slowly. It was roughly 200 yards away from them. And she said, "Grandpa, what is that?" He looked very confused. My dad is a man who has grown up in the woods. He knows every animal and everything possible about where they live. He told her it looked like it could have been a white coyote. It had a similar size, but it didn't look like any coyote he had seen. The body of the creature was very thin, almost bone skinny, and didn't have a tail. He went and quickly grabbed the binoculars from inside the house. He looked and he said, "It looks really deformed, like a deformed pit bull. It's facing away, so I can't really see its face." It left view, and they continued sitting there waiting for dark. When the sun set, my dad made sure to tell her not to go fast because riding at night was something new. He knew that she knew the lay of the land well, but was worried since it was her first time doing laps night riding. When he was done with his safety brief, she took off. As she was riding her way around the property, she had a weird feeling of being watched. But she pushed those thoughts to the side because she assumed it was nerves, on top of it being dark in the woods. As she rounded the corner to the straightaway with her light shining down the path, the light from her bike reflected back 2 eyes. She slowed her bike down, thinking it was a coyote or a deer. As she came slowly closer, she realized it was white. She was frozen in a panic when she realized that this was the creature she and my dad had seen in the field. Only this time, she was just feet away. The creature was facing her, and she was able to clearly see its head this time. It was crouching with its long, skinny arms hanging down against its side. It had the head of a human dying of malnutrition. It had a huge chest, and its rib cage was very prominent. What she thought was white fur was skin. It had white skin with gray undertones. It looked like death. Its eyes were half the size of its head and completely reflected the light from her bike. She was still riding towards it, unable to react due to being frozen in fear. The creature's mouth then became clear. It was really big and unnatural. As she got closer, she started to realize that this creature was very tall. Tall like my dad, who is 6'3". She said the long, skinny arms that hung down to its side had human-like hands. She started to feel sick and woozy. Then, she snapped out of it, turned the bike around, and headed back to the house as fast as the bike went.